behalf of the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, I, Bharati Kokil, welcome you all to a lecture-cum-discussion on India's strategic culture and leadership by Lieutenant General Ajai Kumar Singh, PVSM, AVSM, YSM, SM, VSM, retired, member National Security Advisory Board. We begin with the Maharashtra song, which will be followed by the university song. I request everyone to stand up while the songs are being played. First, the Maharashtra song.
जबाब देती जिभा सह्याद्रीचा सिंह गर्जतो शिवशंभू राजा
दरी दरी तुला नाद गुंजला महाराष्ट्र माझा जय महाराष्ट्र माझा जय महाराष्ट्र माझा
काळ्या छातीवरी कोरली अभिमानाची लेणी
ओलादी मनगटे खेळती खेळ जीव घेणी
दारिद्र्याच्या उन्हात शिजला
विठ्ठलाच्या घामाने भिजला
देश गौरवासाठी झिजला दिल्लीचेही दस्तगामी तो महाराष्ट्र माझा जय जय महाराष्ट्र माझा गरजा महाराष्ट्र माझा जय जय महाराष्ट्र माझा.
The university song now.
पुण्यमयी देया महाअक्षर वरदान पुण्यमयी देया महाअक्षर वरदान ज्ञान बनो कर्मशील कर्म ज्ञानवान ज्ञान बनो कर्मशील कर्म ज्ञानवान पुण्यमयी देया महाअक्षर वरदान जाति भेद धर्म भेद वंश भेद दूर लाख लाख कंठातून हाच एक सूर जाति भेद धर्म भेद वंश भेद दूर लाख लाख कंठातून हाच एक सूर करुणेच्या चरणाशी नत हो विज्ञान ज्ञान बनो कर्मशील कर्म ज्ञानवान पुण्यमयी देया महाअक्षर वरदान माणूस की धर्माचा अर्थ जाणतो श्रमनिष्ठा हे पवित्र तीर्थ मानतो माणूस की धर्माचा अर्थ जाणतो श्रमनिष्ठा हे पवित्र तीर्थ मानतो हृदयातून समतेचा निर्भय अभिमान ज्ञान बनो कर्मशील कर्म ज्ञानवान पुण्यमयी देया महाअक्षर वरदान सेवेतच मुक्ती ही मंगल दीक्षा न्यायास्तव जागृती ही सर्व परीक्षा सेवेतच मुक्ती ही मंगल दीक्षा न्यायास्तव जागृती ही सर्व परीक्षा हे विश्वचिखर अमुचे मंत्र हा महान ज्ञान बनो कर्मशील कर्म ज्ञानवान पुण्यमयी देया महाअक्षर वरदान पुण्यमयी देया महाअक्षर वरदान ज्ञान बनो कर्मशील कर्म ज्ञानवान ज्ञान बनो कर्मशील कर्म ज्ञानवान.
Thank you. Please be seated. We proceed with the lighting of the lamp. Lamp signifies or symbolizes the triumph of light over darkness and knowledge over ignorance. It's a way to invite positivity and dispel negativity. I now request Lieutenant General Ajai Kumar Singh and Professor Dr. Vijay Khare, Head Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, to light the auspicious lamp. Thank you, sirs. I now request Professor Dr. Vijay Khare, Head of the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, to felicitate Lieutenant General Ajai Kumar Singh, PVSM, AVSM, YSM, SM, VSM, retired, with a shawl. Professor Dr. Vijay Khare felicitating Lieutenant General Ajai Kumar Singh with a shawl, a bouquet, and a memento. I now request Professor Dr. Vijay Khare, Head Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, to address the audience and introduce the guest.
Good morning. Namaskar. Respected Lieutenant General Ajai Kumar Singh, PVSM, AVSM, YSM, SM, VSM, and most important, PhD in Defense and Strategic Studies. Give a round of applause from him. My colleagues, General Baput, Principal, former Principal and Professor of Defense and Strategic Studies, Professor Sari. Sir, I'm very happy to inform you that every year I'm receiving 8 Army officers above the rank of Colonel and Brigadier. They do independent research and we are calling them as a resident scholar. And they do research and while completing research, now we have set up a new trend. They are going to publish 3 articles as well as whatever they produce the literature, we are coming with the book. Presently, morning we met with them. There are 8 officers now pursuing research. My faculty, administrative staff of the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, my colleagues. It gives me great pleasure to welcome General A.K. Singh, who has been instrument. In fact, I'm very happy that he is a member of National Security Advisory Board and he is directly involved with, you must heard the name of Babasaheb. He is directly interacting with him, and when Colonel Abhishek, in fact, he is connected point for us, and I said that is it possible to invite General Saab? He said we'll try and get his your appointment. And then I sent a message to General Sahab, and within a few hours, I get a response from him. And he said that, Professor, definitely I'll be happy to come and interact with the faculty and the student. So very kindness for you. So give a round of applause for him. Sir, this is the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies was established after 62 war with China. In fact, in 63, university authorities established the department. And earlier it was military history, then the defense studies, and then 80s onwards we extended name Defense and Strategic Studies. Earlier we had only one master program, but when I became a head in 2016, we started a number of initiatives. In fact, first we brought it to two chair. One is from Minister of Defense, where I mentioned that Professor Seshadri Chari, his name is going to flash in a few days. We are in crossing finger who occupied the chair, professor, and probably he may get a chance of becoming vice president. And this is a proud feeling for each one. If that has happened, he has occupied that position. Then we brought it one chair from Indian Air Force, first kind of chair we brought it from Indian Air Force in 2020. And Marshal of the Air Force, Arjun Singh Chair, DFC, in his name, we instituted chair. This is tenure is for 2 years, and Air Marshal Soman was the first 2 consecutive term. He was the chair professor, and Air Marshal Bapat is now occupied the position. Then General Nimborkar occupied the position of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Policy Chair, which is sponsored by Indian Army. And one chair is going to fill in very soon, Savarkar Chair Professor. So we have 4 chairs in the department, 4 faculties, and there are contractual faculty, and we are running 2-3 master program. In fact, this year we have started only one edition. First is the MA in Defense and Strategic Studies. Second is in MA in Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vision and Nation Building. This is a unique program we have developed. And third, probably we may start Geopolitics and International Relations. In fact, that was the course we designed with the help of Professor Chari, who is an expert in the field of geopolitics and military geography. We did it. And fourth is the Peace and Master in Peace and Conflict Studies. These are the 4 new courses we started. And at the same time, earlier we used to call it as PG diploma courses. Now, as per the NEP, we have changed the name of the course. That is Advanced Course in Cyber Security, Advanced Course in Disaster Management, and Advanced Course in CBRN and others. So there are 10 to 11 postgraduate diplomas we are conducting. Depends on the response we received from the student and the availability of the faculty. One important legacy we have from 95 onwards, we are organizing a General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture. In fact, this is the only university in the country where we dedicated one gate name itself is a General B.C. Joshi Dwar. We call it General Joshi Dwar. So this is a legacy we have with the Southern Command from 94 onwards, and it is continuing. And I'm very happy that with this legacy we are continuing. And General Singh is with us today. He is going to deliver talk on India's strategic culture and leadership. Before that, let me read his brief CV. There's a lot of things to tell you, but I'm going to read it because some things should not miss it or miss out. So I'm reading his brief CV. Lieutenant General Ajai Kumar Singh, I already mentioned PVSM, AVSM, YSM, SM, VSM, and PhD. Presently is nominated a member, National Security Advisory Board. General officers with 40 years of decorated and distinguished career. And alumnus of St. Gabriel Academy, Roorkee, National Defense Academy, and Indian Military Academy. He was commissioned into 711 Gorkha Rifles in December 1984. Commanded 111 Rifles, that is the bravest of the brave, and rose to become the colonel of 11 Gorkha Rifles and Sikkim Scout, beside being the President Gorkha Brigade. a seasoned military leader with wide-ranging operational experience of counterinsurgency, counterterrorism, counterterrorism, high altitude, desert, jungle, and glacier operation. The officer has the unique distinction of serving in all commands and tenanting challenging command and staff appointments. Decorated in each rank, he is known for the inspirational leadership, strategic equipment, and operational brilliance and depthness in swiftly resolving intricate challenges. Led the Indian Army oldest and largest command, the Southern Command, promoting joint operations and inter-service coordination beside leveraging the Peninsular India strategic industrial and economic capabilities for Atmanirbhar, Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense. Initiated a comprehensive action plan towards civil-military fusion and promoted outsourcing as the Director General Operational Logistics and Strategic Movement. Commanded 3 Shakti Corps defending Sikkim in the aftermath of Galwan crisis. As Additional Director General Military Operation, handled pivotal and sensitive operational issues during Balakot strike, abrogation of Article 370 and Galwan crisis. An ardent believer of the Indian knowledge system with interest in the spirituality, he is an accomplished mountaineer, nature enthusiast, and loves yoga, running, and cycling. A double MPhil and PhD. He has penned a book, Beyond the Battlefield, Spirituality and Enabler of Military Leadership. Besides narrating the second book, Shalini, a life extraordinary dedicated to his wife. His multifaceted personality and experience, coupled with outstanding and wide-ranging competence, reinforced by warm human touch and empathy, make him an exceptional administrator and a worthy ambassador of our distinguished armed forces. The officer extensively speaks on geopolitics, international relations, Indian knowledge system, spirituality, and features on varied podcasts. Recently has been nominated as a member of the National Security Board. Sir, I welcome on behalf of the Savitribai Phule Pune University, on behalf of the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, and give a round of applause for again him with me. In fact, his book, particularly Beyond the Battlefield, the Spirituality as an Enabler of Indian Military Leadership. This book forwarded by General Anil Chavan, and I have gone through that book where CDS, in fact, I referred that book when CDS delivered lecture 1 month back. I'm not getting that exact date. But the kind of, he is the first officer who tried to conceptualize how spirituality is important to understand Indian strategic culture and leadership. In fact, when we talked about today is going to interact with the India's strategic culture, leadership, and spirituality. When you talked about the Indian strategic culture, Thanam wrote a piece of paper and he said that India is lacking strategic culture. And from that point of reference, most of the strategic experts, they discovered what is our strategic culture. Most of the strategic thinking, we referred that book and we started our argument. And when we talked about the key feature of strategic thinking, particularly we talked about strategic autonomy, avoiding the formal alliances. Then we also talked about the ethical pragmatism as well as continuity and change. These are the 3 important indicators when we gone through the strategic culture. But at the same time, there are the challenges as well as opportunities in strategic thinking. One is particularly what is the ambiguity and lack of codification. That's considering the present geopolitics and present economic order. Then balancing, how to balance the soft and hard power, and how to take a pressure particularly economic pressure, and look at the present scenario, how Trump is increasing tariffs from 25% to 50%, probably he may increase in that. So how to deal with the soft power, how to deal with the hard power, and what is our strategic thinking. So in that context, General is going to speak on India's strategic culture and leadership and spirituality, because that is his brainchild. In fact, very few officers conceptualize in this context, and when you are conceptualize any idea in the book form, then it is our responsibility to disseminate this idea to common people. And I'm very happy, sir. This is the, we have a different program. From 12th standard, we started a 5-year integrated program. Idea behind that, most of the strategic thinking is a Delhi-centric, or most of the strategic thinking we talked about only in a office, military affairs. But the common layman, if you talk about Operation Sindoor, they talks only the drone, how drone we use, how retaliate, and the media, the kind of media they seen. So while starting this course, this new generation must understand the strategic thinking in a theoretical perspective with the defense application. And I'm very happy that there are the students on the first 5-year integrated program. Then master program, also we have the student from international student from Ghana and Fiji, and other students are also there. So this is the very unique department in a country and happening place. And once again, I'm very happy to welcome you on behalf of Savitribai Phule Pune University. In fact, I wanted to start a Diksharam program to start with you, but as per the university norms, 2 days back we started Diksharam program. And in that Diksharam program, we initiated one competition, because this is just in Diksharam means to introduction to the student. And in that program, we put a one competition that those who come from different areas. Now here student are from Tamil Nadu, student from Gadchiroli, student are from Fiji, student from the Ghana. They must explore the campus by walk. And I put it one competition, and I made it 3 teams, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. So 3 companies, they went in physically in 21 places, and they sent a picture, and those who come first, they got a prize. And I was thinking that that prize should be given in your hand. So today, let me call upon here. The first prize goes to Alpha Company, Regina. Second is Bravo. Group leader, just come forward. Aarti, and Charlie is a David. So, give a round of applause for this group leader, because they, first day they walk around 10 kilometers. It's a good, good walking for them. So thank you very much. And without much taking time, let me once again I thanks to my all staff, and I would request General A.K. Singh to floor his duty, sir. Thank you very much.
Jai Hind. Professor Dr. Suresh Gosavi, the Vice Chancellor, whom I had the privilege of meeting just about 10 minutes back. He was gracious enough. Being busy, he could not be here physically. So we thought it appropriate that I go and call on him. I think a lot is happening. So I thought I must mention his name. Dr. Vijay Khare, Head of Department Defense of Strategic Studies. I think I must thank you for taking this initiative and getting me here. I have been to a number of such departments which are dealing with defense and strategic studies, and by far I can tell you with absolute surety that this is the most dynamic and vibrant department. And the credit goes to you, and I feel it's the need of the hour for all of us to understand issues related with defense and security. If you look around, you know what is happening. I'll dwell on it. So it's important for us to be educated about this. The faculty who are present here, staff, students, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege and honor to be here in Savitribai Phule, Pune University. It's a beautiful campus. Outstanding campus, 411 acres. You don't see such campuses in the entire world. When you enter here, it's like a jungle. So, you know, it gives you an impression as if, you know, you have transported to the old times when, you know, you had to acquire education, you had to go to the rishis and you have to be in the ashram. So it looks like a Gurukul. And I think it is absolutely in tune with our heritage and with our culture. And being with the nature, you know, it's important. Once you are with the nature, your mind is always at peace. Anytime I can share this secret with you. Anytime you feel a little stressed, you feel a little agitated, you don't have to do anything. Just go into the forest, sit next to a tree, just sit quietly. I am assuring you that you will be absolutely stilled and your mind, agitated mind, would be very peaceful. This is what nature does. This is what Prakriti does to you. So you are, all of you, I think, are fortunate to be here to you know, benefit from this nature, from this Prakriti. This establishment and this university, while I was talking and interacting with the Vice Chancellor, got to know that there are 7.5 lakh students, 800 colleges and 400 establishments, institutes which are affiliated with it. It's a massive, absolutely massive. Established in February 1949, I feel this today, in fact, is one of the top leading, and especially in the state universities, it is the number one in Maharashtra definitely, and also pan-India. So this is the ranking of this university. It always has been India's premier and top institutions in the field of education, and I'll not be off the mark and wrong to say and suggest that it is the torch bearer in the field of education since India's independence, that is in modern independent India. So it's a university with a character, it's a university with a proven track record. It's always pleasure for me to come to Pune. Having commanded the Southern Command, I have developed a love and affinity with this place. It's a beautiful place which is rooted in culture and yet has got all the modern trappings. It's a beautiful fusion, it's a beautiful mixture. And the best part that impresses me and that really influences me and touches me is this spirit of Punekars, you know, belonging to the town and having a pride in the town. And somehow I have been thinking that if this town needs two things, one is cleanliness and the second is the traffic discipline. These are just the two things that are needed. And somehow if Indore can show the way in cleanliness, I feel the ingredients exist here in this city. And I would request Professor Dr. Vijay Khare to take an initiative along with the Vice Chancellor in this field, because when universities which have you know, numbers which are into 7.5 lakhs and with so many institutions, I think if you come forward you know, and put pressure on the municipal corporation to sort of take it up. It is I, as an army commander here, did try to reach out to the mayor and to people concerned, and I in fact said that I will align the resources of the Southern Command also in making sure, because I thought Pune, not only in Maharashtra, in entire India is one of the top towns This is like, this, in fact, the college itself is known as Oxford of East. And today, because of this college, which was established in February 49, and subsequently the colleges that have come, Pune today is the hub of education in India. I think it's the number one. If any parent want to send their child, Pune ranks right at the top. It's the number one. So it's important for Pune to recognize the place. But somehow I think Pune has not been given that due importance in the state polity or in the state hierarchical structure. I wish that gets taken care of. I, in fact, superannuated just about a year back, and normally people use the term retired, but I don't use the term retired. I am re-attired. I don't think an army officer ever retires. An army officer never, he just superannuates. He finishes one phase of life and he gets on to the second phase of life. So I have decided for myself that I am never going to retire. I'm going to continue till my last breath. And one of the prime example of that is none other than the Bharat Ratna Dr. Abdul Kalam Azad. I think his life and his time and the work that he has done is a great motivator. And if you recollect, his last moment, he was talking and he collapsed while he was in fact talking. I think he contributed till his last breath. I think all of us need to contribute in that manner, and especially so the armed forces officers, primarily because we have great experience. And I feel that this age of 60 to 70, Lieutenant General retires at the age of 60. 60 to 70 is the most crucial age. Today they call it the young age. So I am young. And 60 to 70 is also the age where you can give back to the society. One is that you still are absolutely young, energetic. You have that go in you. Then you have loads of experience. I have had 40 years of commissioned service and 4 years of training, which implies about 44 years of time in uniform. So over a period of time, you gather immense experience. So we have all of us. When I say I am talking on behalf of all of us, my dear friend General Abhijit Bapat is here. He's been with me in all the good deeds and the misdeeds together. We were together in the Military Operations Directorate. He was the one who headed at that time, the China desk. He is a China expert, and he has done some phenomenal and seminal work, especially in the negotiation and the confidence building measures. And he has really thought things through. And one must go through, what he has been able to sort of do. So you have the experience as an army officer. You have the experience. You have nothing to lose. You have proven yourself. Once you retire as a Lieutenant General, there is nothing else to prove. You don't have any, and you don't have any liabilities. You have created a house. Your children are well settled. You have everything, whatever you need. So with all these three things, the experience, no liabilities, and nothing to prove, you are absolutely free to contribute and give back to the society. And I'm a strong proponent that the army officers in their individual capacity and in their collective must contribute to the society. I think we have that kind of a potential, we have that kind of an exposure to, and the departments like this definitely will play a very, very important part in this. Today the subject that I'm going to speak is India's strategic culture and leadership. And I'll have a backdrop of spirituality, and I'll throw it in between. I was very happy when I came here, and the first thing we did was to light the lamp. This is our culture. If you have to understand what is our strategic culture, this one act of lighting the lamp signifies our Indian strategic culture. And like ma'am, you said correctly, this is to dispel darkness. And the mantra that you say when you light the lamp is Shubham Karoti Kalyanam, Arogyam Dhan Sampada, Shatru Buddhi Vinashaya, Deep Jyoti Namostute. Beautiful. The meaning is so profound, so profound. In just one act and one shlok, the entire Indian strategic culture is encapsulated. Okay, but why am I talking of leadership and the India strategic culture with the backdrop of spirituality? If you see today, our polity has decided that by August or by 2047, India would be a developed country and a power of significant proportion. This is what our aim, and this is the vision that has been given by the highest leadership. Why have they given this vision? And if we have to articulate and if we have to make that vision in reality, then what is the most important thing? It is the leadership that is the most important thing. Unless and until we have the right kind of leadership, we will not be able to reach such visions. And in reaching that vision, there is also a milieu that has been set that by 2035, we would be a 5 trillion economy. Today we are 4.19 trillion economy. We have just recently surpassed Japan to become the 4th largest economy in the world. Yes, in PPP, that's a different story. But GDP is taken as a GDP. It's not taken as a PPP model. So we are the 4th largest economy. And I'm absolutely certain, I'm optimistic that we will achieve these milestones and possibly much before the time, much before 2035 or much before 2047. And what gives me this confidence that we will be able to achieve these milestones? I will just read out certain data that we have. I will compare the data as the nation was on 15th of August 1947, and then I will quickly fast forward to 2025 and compare this data. Most of us say that, look, it rests on the young shoulders and the energetic people to take the country forward. So you people have the, you must ask me back that what have you done? Before I'm asking you that, okay, you have to take the mental forward, you must definitely ask me, and I should be prepared to say that this is what I have done. So I am telling you, and I'm addressing this young generation and these young and vibrant people. When you come to a university, I think one of the most important collateral benefit is to rub shoulders with the young people, and you get energized. You have boundless energy in you, and you have boundless enthusiasm. So what our generation and our previous generation has been able to achieve, since 1947, when we became independent. So at 1947, our population was only 340 million. Today we are 1.45 billions. We have rapidly increased 6 times. Life expectancy at that time was only 30 years, 30 years. The literacy was 16%. We had only 17 universities and 2,38,000 students. Today, Pune itself has got more than 2,64,000 students. And like I said, Pune University itself has got more than 7.5 lakh students. That is the progress that we have been able to make. 90% of our population at that time was below poverty line. Our economic growth was just 1% for 47 years. So from 1900 to 1947, India grew only at 1%. The Britishers actually manipulated and they sucked out the natural resources. They bled us dry and kept us only. Today, if the UK, we say Great Britain, that Great Britain, that greatness comes not from the Britain, not from the UK, but it comes from India. If they won the First World War and the Second World War, the Allies, I think they have rode on the British Indian Army. And if you see the exploits of the British Indian Army and the gallantry awards won, that itself will tell you the story. And most of the important battles that have been won and fought and won, it was all primarily because of the British. I'm not taking things away from the UK Army, because as armed forces, we don't distinguish. The bravery, the camaraderie is always very well respected. I'm not taking that out, but I think the lion's share was the British Indian Army. Our population growth during that time, when we were, the economic growth was only 1%, the population was growing at 3.5% annually. We barely had any industry and hardly any electric power production. Only 3% of our villages were connected to the grid. huge food shortages, chronic disease, and malnutrition were rampant. Now I fast forward. So this is what I want to tell the young generation, that this is what we have been able to achieve. Today the electrification is almost 100%. The piped drinking water has gone to about nearly 50%. Banking accounts is 80%. We are the second largest number of netizens. In the world, 2 out of 3 people joining internet are from India. We are the largest consumer of data, more than China and the United States put together. Remarkable transformation in the economy has been achieved. As per IMF, like I mentioned, India is the fastest growing economy with a GDP of 4.19 trillion. That is the 4th largest economy. And like I told you, it took 67 years for the GDP, to reach 1 trillion. Okay. 2 trillion, we made it in about 8 years. And in 5 years, we touched 3 trillion. That is the rapidity with which India has been growing. The FDI has increased from 10 billion US dollars in 2005 to 700 billion US dollars in 2025. There is also one of the most impressive transformation has taken place in the digital domain. So we have become the global IT hub, creating millions of jobs, and that has been powered by primarily the 1.3 billion unique biometric identity cards, that is the Aadhaar. Once your Aadhaar has been linked with your accounts, that has made the UPI, that is the Unified Payment Interface, which has been India's most spectacular success. Today, when you go to the US or even to the EU, you will have to use your credit card. And even in the credit card, the double authentication is still not there. You know, you just use, you can't go anywhere and show your mobile and, use the facility of UPI. In India, every nook and corner, the UPI facility is there. It is a great transformation to be done, and all this we have been able to achieve in a democratic country. You know, we are the largest democracy, and though the US may say that, they are, or the UK or the Europe can say that, they started the democracy, but I think we are not even the largest, but we are also the oldest democracy. And if you see the democratic institutions, when I talk about our India strategic culture, the democratic institutions were formed first here in India, and then possibly else, somewhere else. In the UPI, we have 300 million UPI users, 500 million merchants who are using the UPI, and we are likely to reach 1 billion transactions daily by 2026-2027. We have 1.3 billion unique biometric identity card. 41% of the world's real-time financial transactions are taking place in India. And the total transactions are 164 billion in 2024 with a value of over 200 trillion. That is the transaction which is sort of taking place. I will also come to the startups. I think startups have been turbocharged by this digital transformation. We have the second largest number of startups, third largest number of unicorns. To 2022, 1 unicorn was being added every 9 days. And in 2023, for a little time, 1 unicorn was added every day. But there has been a global meltdown as far as the economy is concerned. Obviously, it has also affected us. We can't be, dehyphenated from that. So today we have about 119 unicorns. The ease of doing business in India has jumped from 142 rank in 2014 to 63rd in 2020. It would have definitely improved in 2025. One of the top 10 improvers for 3rd time in a row. So India today is one of the most attractive destinations for investments. If we just come to the infrastructure, that is the road infrastructure, total length of national highways has increased by about 59% in last 9 years. We are the second largest road network we have after United States. Isn't it impressive? It's very impressive. This is what we have been able to achieve. We have got the country since 15th of August 1947 to today in 2025. And here, I pass on the mantle to you to take it forward and to make it the developed country by 2047. And I have told you that if this is the progress that we have been able to make, I'm absolute optimistic and certain that all these vision that we have said, we'll be able to do it much before the time. All this can be done if we have the correct leadership potential. And before I talk about the leadership potential, I would like to also talk about that before anyone becomes a leader, the most important thing is for each one of us to become an Indian citizen, a responsible Indian citizen. Please look back into your hearts and ask this question that, are you a responsible citizen? The Constitution of India guarantees us certain fundamental rights. But along with the fundamental rights, bundled with it also comes the fundamental duties and our roles and responsibilities. How many of us are even aware of the fundamental duties, roles, and responsibilities? And I would like to rattle them out and explain to you one by one. This is the most, before we start becoming a leader, I think we need to know and we need to be cognizant of our fundamental duties. The first one is respect for the Constitution, national flag, and national anthem. Second is to protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of the country. The third is to defend the country. As a army commander, I used to travel the length and breadth of the Southern Command. It's 41% of the Indian landmass, and large number of places young people used to come up to me, says they want to fight. Please fight. The Constitution gives you defending the country. So I may be a soldier in uniform. You are also a soldier out of uniform. You don't have to necessarily don uniform. You can do the same thing while wearing the CVs, while doing whatever you are doing. So defending the country is also your fundamental duty. Protecting harmony and brotherhood. I think today, when there is so much of divisive narrative in the social media, it becomes important for all of us to recognize this particular fundamental duty. I think we have to undertake actions so that this kind of a narrative is not perpetuated and perpetrated. I think it's important for all of us. So I feel in today's times, protecting this harmony and brotherhood becomes extremely important. The fifth is valuing and preserving our culture. And for that, we must understand our culture. How many of us actually know about our culture? When I go about the India strategic culture, you will realize for yourself that most of us are quite ignorant. And that includes me also. I may know a little, but to a large extent, I am also equally ignorant about our culture, which is very, very profound. Protecting the environment is the sixth fundamental duty. Then we have developing the scientific temper. I think universities like Savitribai, Phule University are doing a great yeoman service in that. The eighth is the safeguarding public property. We will go about burning buses, burning trains, burning this and that. Absolutely, it is fundamental duty says you have to protect, and if firstly don't burn, and if someone is burning, prevent him from burning. If you say this is not my duty, well, it is enshrined. You are actually supposed to do that. And if I think all of us become, because there are only handful of people who are burning, and bulk of the people are bystanders. And if you are a bystander, the time will go by. And we will continue to be there, and possibly we would slip back. And if these bystanders, which form the large population, if you take the mental to yourself and perform your fundamental duties rightly, then I don't think those handful of people who are burning shops or the trains, they would not have that confidence to do what they do and get away with it. Striving for excellence is the ninth. So striving for excellence in your own personal, you must improve yourself. Whatever work you are doing, whatever job has been assigned to you, you have to put your heart and soul and make sure that you achieve excellence in that. And the 10th and the last is providing education. So not only educating yourself, but also providing education. If you can help in your colony, anybody else in, sort of making, your time, effort, and the resources. Apart from these fundamental duties, there are other roles and responsibilities also. And first is voting. You have to ask how many of us vote. A lot of us are not registered as voters, and a lot of us, even after registering as voter, are not voting. This is our fundamental right. This is our constitutional obligation to vote. So it's very, very important. And second is to pay taxes. We'll find ways and means how to avoid taxes. If we don't pay taxes, then how will the country come up? How will the infrastructure come up? Government has to have money. And you have to make, I'll come subsequently to that also, participating in public affairs. Today this government, whenever they are articulating a policy or bringing about a change in the policy, it is all published. It's there on the website. And you have the right to contribute to that. But most of us, once the policy is made, then we are very quick to judge the policy. But what is the role that we have played while the policy was under formulation? So while the policy is under formulation, please check out whenever an important decision is taken, whenever an important policy is formulated, it is put on the public domain, and every citizen has a right to contribute and say and suggest that these are the changes that need to be made. This is participation in public affairs. Cooperating with law and order. So being a law abiding, not only, but also making sure that others follow, and respecting the right of others. It's not just your right, but it is also the right, and both the rights cannot be in conflict. They have to be deconflicted. Promoting social welfare, being aware of your rights. Sometimes, most of the time, we are not even aware of our rights. Monitoring government, most important thing. It is not that a leader has been elected and he can do whatever he feels like. You have to monitor the governance. It is the public, it is not the leader. The government is not there. Government is for the people, by the people. It is your government. And you have a right to monitor the government and tell the government that this is how things have to be done. There has to be a check. Advocating for social justice is again important, and seeking redress is again a very important. So I've just told you about fundamental duties, and I would request the HOD, and I think this is a point that can be also told to the Vice Chancellor, that certain salient aspects of the Constitution should be culled out and converted into a small booklet, and I think every student need to be given that booklet, and I think every day before you sleep, please read through. Once it is there in your jehen, once it is there in your mind, you will be compelled to adhere and abide by that. If you are absolutely ignorant about it, obviously then there is no point. You will not even have an idea as to what you are wanting to abide by that. From there, I come to the leadership. Having become a good citizen, now we have to come to leadership. So who is a leader? A leader is the one who leads, who shows the way, who creates the way, and who commands willing obedience. So a leader has a vision, but he makes sure that this vision also becomes a collective vision. He is the one who's able to articulate his vision in a manner and impress upon others, that others also start relating and owning up that particular vision. That's how willing obedience is commandeered. So this is the most important. And how do you do that? I think first and foremost is the knowledge and the wisdom. A leader has to be knowledgeable. A leader has to be wise. The second, a leader has to be dynamic. A leader has to have an aura. If a leader stands, then people gain confidence. People know, here is the man who's going to tell us the correct thing and who's going to lead us in the right manner and in the right path. A leader has to have an aura, has to have that kind of an energy. And a leader has to be fearless. Because if you are scared and if you have fear, that is going to cloud your judgment. And if your judgment is clouded, especially in the military parlance, because this is the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, so I will draw heavily from the armed forces. In army, in armed forces, you have to take a split-second decision. A pilot in the aircraft in a dogfight, it is a split-second decision. He's gone or else the other will go. When you are in a counter-insurgency, counter-terrorist and you are entering a house, the militant is inside waiting for you. It's a split-second decision. It is his bullet or your bullet. You have no time. And that is where the fearlessness becomes extremely important. A little amount of, a slight amount of fear will cloud your judgment, and you will take that little extra to take a call, and that little extra becomes, the critical factor between success and defeat. And in army parlance, there is nothing like success or defeat. There are no runners-up. In army, in a corporate governance or any other governance, okay, your profit may go down, you may not be able to achieve the yardsticks or whatever you have set about. But in armed forces and in the leadership pertaining to the armed forces, it has to be foolproof. You cannot afford to fail. If the armed forces fail, the country ceases to exist. Afghanistan, Iraq, all this, most of the African countries. It is live. There is no, the citizens cannot do what they want to do. If we are here, sitting very cozily in this hall and listening to this lecture, it is because we have strong armed forces who are defending our borders and making sure that we have peace and stillness and progress and prosperity in the country. For the very existence of the country to survive as a nation, the strength of the armed forces is a sine qua non. It is a must. Without the strength of the armed forces, you cannot have a nation. And that's why you must have more and more Department of Defense Studies, Defense and Strategic Studies to realize this fact. Most of us don't even realize this fact. And we have to articulate that our, defense forces have to be very, very strong. Like I said, the leader also has to have wisdom. He must have the sagacity to take a call based on his experience, on his knowledge, and on his wisdom. These are the three most important things. More importantly, a leader must rise above his biases and his prejudices. All of us are conditioned. You agree with me that we are conditioned? All of us are conditioned. I have just become a dada, on 28th of May, blessed by a baby girl. So I tell people, ab hamari dadagiri shuru hui hai. When you hold a child, she is about 2 months plus now. When you hold a child, you are holding divinity. It is uncontaminated, unconditioned. And a child remains unconditioned till 5 years of age. And after 5 years of age, we as parents are the first one to condition. Ye kala hai, ye neela hai, idhar nahi karna hai, udhar nahi karna hai. Okay? So we start conditioning. The friends start conditioning. The society starts conditioning. The schools and the universities also start conditioning. So we all become conditioned. And it is very important for a leader to be unconditioned, to rise, because conditioning means you have biases, you have prejudices. And today is a state where we have leaders, right, left and center, who are heavily, President Trump, the most conditioned, okay, the greatest disruptor. Okay, so a good leader has to rise above. And how can you rise above your prejudices and your biases? Only spirituality. It's only through spirituality that I can know who am I. It is a science. I tell people that spirituality is nothing but a science to understand who am I. And if you do not know who am I, how the hell are you doing anything else? अपना नहीं पता है, स्वयं का नहीं पता है, और आप बोल रहे हो कि मैं I am a Lieutenant General commanding Southern Army, और I am so and so, so and so, so and so. अपने बारे में तहकीकात करिए, अपने बारे में जानिए. सबसे पहले अपने बारे में जानिए. And the only way to know yourself is through spirituality. You touch base with your consciousness and you can rise above your conditioning. It's not that the mind will not be conditioned. The mind will still be conditioned. But now, when you become spiritual and have a spiritual bent of mind, then you develop a gap between you and the mind. Then you are not the mind. Spirituality says, you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the thought, you are not the emotion. You are beyond it. You are a sense of being. That sense of being is actually seeing your body, is seeing your thoughts and seeing your emotion. More often than not, We are like zombies. We are driven by the mind. Am I right? We are like zombies. We are driven by the mind. You know, the taste buds start doing something and you want to have that pizza, you know, and you will just rush for the pizza knowing fully well कि ये ठीक नहीं है अपने लिए. So the mind, which is supposed to be an instrument, has become a master and it is governing us. Why do you want to, an instrument of yours, your own servant in your household cannot become a master. But when it comes to your own self, one of your servant, you have allowed him to become a master. And we all are enslaved by this mind. Because the mind just takes it away, wins it, and just pushes us into a particular direction. Why? Why? Because we never stay in the moment. We never stay in the present moment. The mind has the habit of taking you either to the past or to the future. If it takes you to the past, you will say, I wish it could have happened like this. So there is a lot of regret when you go to the past, when you visit the past. And in the future, how would it happen? How will I find a job? How will I find, pass my so-and-so in top grades? Whether I'll marry my girlfriend or my boyfriend, things. So there is, when you visit future, there is anxiety. So on one extreme, in the past, there is regret, and on the other extreme, there is anxiety. So all throughout your life, the mind makes you vacillate like a pendulum between anxiety and regret. And both are not the truth. The past is not the truth. You can't touch past. What has happened has happened. Finished. You have no idea about the future. It's yet to come. So both are not the truth. What is truth? This moment. This moment is the truth. And if you stop letting the mind take you to the past or to the future and have this control that you are mindful, that mindfulness becomes your secondary nature, then you will remain, you will be unconditioned, unbiased, unprejudiced. In our culture they say Aham Brahmasmi. That is when the Aham Brahmasmi or the Tattvam Asi becomes a reality. In a 24-hour cycle, how many thoughts? 16,000 to 70,000 thoughts in a 24-hour cycle. That's what our mind thinks. All our energies get dissipated in these 70,000 thoughts. All our energies. And every thought is an electromagnetic pulse, isn't it? Am I right? It's an energy. You are wasting your energy when you are overthinking. I'm not saying for a moment, please don't think. Please think. But, you go back, and I'm also not saying that don't visit the past. Visit the past, learn lessons, but remain in the moment. Plan, go to the future, plan for the future, but remain in the moment. When you remain in the moment, and if you can hold just one single thought, there is no difference between you and divinity. Then you personify divinity. Then there is no difference. It's like, an ocean and a drop from the ocean has come out. That drop is not merely a drop. That drop contains the ocean. So you as a drop of that divinity also contains the divinity. They say both macro and the micro are the same. You would have said that very famous, forward that often comes in the social media, that, there's a camera which is zooming in and which is zooming out. And you realize that both are the same. There is hardly any difference. The galaxies and all inside you also. Finally, what are we? All of us. We are energy. We are energy. We are a vibration. Energy is what? Energy is a vibration. I can prove it to you that you're not. It is a limitation of my eye that I look at you in this form. I can prove it to you that you don't exist in this form. It's a limitation of my eye that I am seeing you in this form. What are we comprising of? A musculoskeletal system, the blood, the organs, and all these are made up of what? Tissues. Tissues are made up of what? Compounds. Compounds are made up of what? Elements. Elements are what? Cells. Finally, it boils down to a cell. And somebody gave a beautiful simile of a cell. A cell is like 5 football fields joined together, put a football in the center. that football in the center is the nucleus. Having what? Having a proton and a neutron, a neutral charge and a positive charge. What is it? It's a charge. Mass is negligible, nearly non-existent. And in that 5 football field, that vastness are the electrons, the negative charge. So basically we are what? We are a positive charge, a negative charge, and a neutral charge. And a vast field. I should actually be able to walk through you. Okay, and somebody will say, when I do this, if I am proton, why I am not disintegrating? I am not disintegrating because of this electron cloud that is there. So the electron cloud makes what? A negative field. And there also there is an electron cloud. It's a negative field. A negative repels a negativity. And that's why it is two different things. It will not merge. But if it is positive, if I can make it positive, I will disintegrate into it. Physically, am I saying anything wrong? It is feasible. So, people have that earlier, they could, travel far, that teleportation is feasible. Teleportation is feasible. Maybe in times to come, we'll see in our life that teleportation is feasible. But I'm coming to this part that we are energy and we are influenced. So it is very, very important for us to reach at that level and to realize our beingness. The beingness is more important. And please don't confuse between the spirituality and the religion. Spirituality is fundamental. Core principles is the core principles. All religions have emanated from it. Spirituality is not everybody's cup of tea. For the common masses, our religious leaders in every religion has sort of made certain principles and codes, and people are to abide. These are also basically guided by the spiritual principles. But over a period of time, I think, wo abhransh ho gaya hai. A lot of other issues have been, the power play has sort of come into it, and that's why it has gone into a very different direction. But spirituality is the core. And like I said, it's not for everybody. If I just call anybody and say, you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the thought, you are not the emotion, वो बोलेगा भाई इसका बरेली जाने का टाइम हो गया है, अच्छा खासा बॉडी है, अच्छा खासा बोल रहा है, you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the thought, you are not the emotion. What the hell? He will not understand. But you will understand. Intellectually oriented, you will understand. You will understand. Okay? So it's not a class in spirituality, it is a class in leadership. So I'll come back to the leadership. I was telling you about the various attributes, and I told you the most important for leader is to uncondition and to be unbiased and unprejudiced. And from here I will deviate. A leader also has to know about his culture. That is where I come to culture. And that's where I come to the present state of affairs. If you look around, the world is in a geopolitical flux. There is a great disruption today, whether it is in political field, whether it is in social field, whether it is in economic field, or whether it is in the technological field. The quantum, the AI, everything is a great disruptor. These are all disruptive technologies. So in this all disruption, and in this geopolitical meltdown that is taking place, it's very important for us to reassert our strategic culture. If you look around, why is it today? Scientifically, we have progressed hell of a lot. If you see, we have progressed, whether it is a civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, in every walk of life, we have made tremendous progress. But there is no peace. Ultimately, what is the requirement? What does everyone want? An individual entity, a society, or a nation? We are looking for peace. We are looking for prosperity. We are looking for happiness. Everybody, whether it is an individual or a society, we are all looking for that. Despite the trappings of the modern science and the amenities of the technology, we have yet not been able to achieve. Please ask this question as to why. Because so far we have been governed by the Western thought process or the Western strategic culture. And what is a Western strategic culture? It is based on profit, crass commercialization. Everything is related with profit. It is a transactional, thing which takes place. If I do this, I should get this. I don't think the world is ever run by that. So you may have the most modern medical facilities and amenities, but they are not for your health. They are there to make money. You may have the biggest defense manufacturing industry, but it is not to safeguard you. It is to create conflict and to earn money. Okay. You have absolute utter disregard for environment and ecology. You tell me who's bothered about environment and ecology? The greatest part of the United States is absolutely, anything, any, agreement. They are just jeopardizing every agreement that is to take place in that. And they have progressed. And since they have progressed, they don't want other developing countries to progress. So carbon and this and that, they will put those kind of impediments in our progress. You did what? It is because of you today we have come to this state. Either you give us the latest technology, which is there, so that we learn from your mistake, otherwise we'll also have to progress. We also have 1.45 billion people to feed and to, sort of take care of all their aspirations. So progress has to be there. So this is the right time when in this oasis of geopolitical flux, India is like an oasis of peace, progress and stability. So far, I can't guarantee how long this peace, progress and stability will remain, but today it is a reality. And it is our collective effort that will continue to make it a reality. And that is why today, if this is a reality and the world is looking at us, I have seen in my 40 years I have seen, earlier I used to go to abroad, foreign countries, the way they used to look at us. And today when you go abroad, the way they look at you, every Indian abroad today is looked at with a lot of awe and admiration. The world is looking at us. This is the biggest emerging market, the fastest growing economy. So if the world is looking at us, do we want to go ahead with the dominant Western strategic culture, or do we want to reassert our own strategic culture? And what are the trappings of our strategic culture? I told you, I gave you one small example, Deep Prajwalan. I'll give you another example. We had the G8, summit, and what was the catchword? Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. So when India will progress, India will not progress at the cost of any other country. It will be a collective progress. We will take others along. We are not going to ride over their shoulders. Sarve bhavantu sukhinam, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukh bhag bhavet. This is how we think. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shanti. Peace. May peace prevail. Our dictum, one of the most important thing is, we say, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. What is meant is, this is also complete. And this is also complete. When completeness merges with completeness, what comes out is completeness. When completeness is removed out of completeness, what remains is completeness. It is telling you, you are complete in all respect. Don't need anything else to complete yourself. You are not inadequate, you are adequate. I think the same principle we have to apply as a country. I think we are adequate. This is the time for us, if this world has to survive, we have to reassert our Indian strategic culture. And like the professor had mentioned, John Tanham, he did a study in 1992 that was commissioned by the Pentagon. Rand Corporation undertook that study, and it said that India lacks a strategic culture. The same Pentagon, the same Rand Corporation did a study again in 2005, and they said, no, India has a strategic culture. They realized it. Well, we have a strategic culture which goes back 5 millennia. When all those people who say that we don't have a strategic culture, they were still in jungles. We had city-states with beautiful irrigation system and a democracy, a thriving, vibrant democracy. 5 millennia, 5,000 years back. Ramayana, Mahabharata, it's a blueprint. Any of you who has read Ramcharitmanas or Ramayana or Mahabharata? It is a blueprint of life. In Mahabharata, in the Udyog Parv, after the battle, and Bhishma is there on the Sarshaya, and Lord Krishna tells Yudhishthira that please walk up to Bhishma Pitama and learn statecraft. Raj Dharma सीखिए उनसे. Raj Dharma, statecraft, that's our strategic culture. And Bhishma tells him that the first responsibility of a king is what? To protect dharma. Again, because Sanskrit is a very profound language. When you translate dharma to Hindi, to English, what comes is religion. Dharma is not religion. Dharma is righteousness, the model code of conduct. That is what dharma. And there is a beautiful shlok in Manusmriti. It says, Dhriti Shama Damostem Shaucham Indriya Nigraha Dhir Vidya Satyam Akrodho Dashkam Dharm Lakshanam. Dharma ke 10 lakshan hai. Dhriti, dhairya. Shama, forgiveness. Astem, Dhriti Shama, dam. Dam, restraint. Astem, chori nahi karna. It is not that I pick up something and it's not that. It is more beyond that. It is like 5 रोटी में अगर मेरा काम चलता है, मेरा पेट भरता है, बट खाना बहुत अच्छा है, मैंने 10 रोटी खा ली, तो 5 रोटी की चोरी हुई है, अस्तेम हुआ है 5 रोटी का. 10 जोड़ी कपड़े में मेरा काम होता है, लेकिन मेरे पास 50 है, 45 का काम हो गया, अस्तेम है. ठीक है, there are a lot of girls here. सैंडल 10 सैंडल काफी हैं, बट 50 हैं, वो भी गड़बड़ है. So minimalism. Imagine the principle of ecology and environment. This world has enough natural resources to meet the requirement of every being, not only humans, every being. We are a small part of this huge cosmos. Every being. हम ही काम करते हैं, बाकी कोई नहीं काम करता. आप देखो, चिड़िया, कीड़े, मकोड़े, सबको मिलता है. ईश्वर, प्रकृति सबको देती है, अतुल्य मात्रा में देती है सबको. हमने ही कुछ जिम्मा उठाया हुआ कि हम काम करेंगे और ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे. We have created all this organism and all. Okay, we must create this, but never lose touch. The nature will provide you, but the nature is incapable of meeting even a single person's greed. It can't, but it is good enough to meet the requirements, basic requirements of each one of us. That's the principle of ecology. Astem. Dhriti Shama Damostem Shaucham Indriya Nigra. Shauch is cleanliness, physical and mental. The inside cleanliness is more important. It's a huge void that is there. It is equally important, not just the exterior. Interior is much more important. Indriya Nigra, restraint on your senses. Restraint on your senses. Dhir Vidya. Dhi is buddhi. Your manas, mind, I told you 16,000 to 70,000 thoughts. It's a monkey mind. It will never be silent. Have you seen a monkey? Kuch na kuch usne shaitani karna hai. So mind also is, up to monkey tricks. But a mind that is restrained by vivek, discrimination, that becomes dhi, buddhi. Manas, buddhi. Vivek se buddhi hoti hai. Manas, agar vivek usko lagam lagaye, to buddhi, that is dhi in Sanskrit. So dhi, vidya, knowledge. Satya, truth. Akrodh, non-anger. The 10 attributes of dharma. This is what dharma. This is what a king is supposed to protect. Anyone who's violating this, he has to take care of that. He has to take care of by what? Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. Uske liye bhi pura gradation hai. This is all part of our strategic culture. आप साम उसको समझाइए, नहीं होता है तो दाम, नहीं होता है तो दंड, ठीक है, and भेद, फिर भेद, and then last is done. It's all, every gradation has been sort of explained clearly and very logically. Okay, so right from the Mahabharata, then coming on to, even before Ramayana was a Ram Rajya. What is a Ram Rajya? That's the strategic culture says this is an ideal state. It's an ideal nation. And if you read every responsibility of a king, responsibility of a father, responsibility of a wife, responsibility of a brother, through story, imagine how profound the mind was. These are all very difficult, good spiritual principles explained to you in a story form, telling you your responsibilities, your roles, so clearly and cogently. That is why it was read. ऐसा नहीं है कि रामचरितमानस पहले बोलते थे पढ़िए, अभी हम शहर के अंदर आ गए हैं, हम भूल गए हैं. Please do Narmada Yatra. All of us who feel that India has lost touch with its culture, I don't think India has lost touch. But we, the city dwellers, have lost touch. India hasn't lost touch. India, Bharat, is there. Do a Narmada Yatra. Every temple, everywhere, every household. Ramcharitmanas is read. It is not merely reading. When you start reading as a child, you imbibe the values, the ethics, and the principles. एक impressionable एज खत्म हो जाएगी, तो उसके बाद कोई टाइम वेस्ट करने से फायदा नहीं है. That is why the correct age is young. Catch them young. If you just catch them and start these things and make that connect with our values, with our culture and with our strategic culture, it just takes one generation to take care of everything. And we'll be able to reassert our culture. I'm not saying, because this is, I think the world can only be saved through our thought process and through our culture. And that's why it's very important for each one of us, especially you, the young generation. अगर आपको कल्चर के विषय में पता ही नहीं है तो फिर तो बात ही खत्म हो गई ना. तो पहले जानिए, पहचानिए, अध्ययन करिए, ठीक है, and then try and abide by those cultures. Okay, so after that is your Vishnu Smriti, your Panch, what is that? Panch Tantra, Niti Sar, and even in the south there have been large number of sort of granth which are, and our own literature. We are not a culture of just one book. We are a culture of libraries, and our library in Nalanda, when it was burnt, it took months to burn. There was so much of literature. A lot of it we have lost, but some which is still existing is also good enough, is also so much that I think possibly we'll need a great storage system, to just go through that. There is so much of culture. Shruti, Smriti, these were the two main things. So Shruti is what you hear, the Ved, the Upanishad, the Upved, the Vedangas, all form part of Shruti. And on the other hand is Smriti. All your Puranas form part of the Smriti. And there are large number of, out of the interpretations of them have come 6 philosophies. There are 6 philosophies. If you go into it, it is an ocean. It is a bottomless ocean. There is so much of literature in our own culture, but how many of us are aware of that literature? So my humble request to each one of you is to be aware of your literature, aware of your culture, and to propagate it far and wide. This is the right time. This is the right time for you. Then we come to one of the most important proponent of India's strategic culture is who? Chanakya. What he did was he encapsulated and combined and collated the entire thing what was there before in his famous book, seminal work, Arthashastra. So if I talk about the Arthashastra, it has got the Saptanga theory of statecraft. It is something like the dime. Nowadays, Western people will tell you dime, and we will also, the dime. Our people have told thousands of years back, Chanakya has said, that there are 6 elements of a state. And what are those elements? The first is Vizikshu. Vizikshu is the Atma. It is also contained with the body. So he said, what is most important? How does a nation state or a nation forms? Nation forms out of the society. A society is out of the family. A family is out of an individual. So there is no difference between an individual and a nation. So he says, nation का भी वैसे ही है, जैसे एक individual की आत्मा है, एक nation की भी आत्मा है, and that आत्मा is Jizikshu, that is the king. There is no difference. And that's why spirituality again becomes an important part. If each one of us has been able to take care of our own mental noise and mental chatter and the conflict within ourselves, there would not be any conflict in this world. The conflict of this world exists because there are conflicts within us. The Trump is in conflict with the world because Trump has a conflict within himself. The day he deconflicts himself, the tariffs would be gone. Okay. So, in that 7, they sing Jizikshu, the Atma, the king. Then you have the Amatya, the ministers, the advisors, Danda, Dand is the police, the Tantra, the armed forces, that is the Dand. Then you have the Kosh, the treasury. Then you have the Mitra, your allies. You have the Janpad, territory or people, Durg, that is the city or the fort. So these are the 7 constituents and pillars of a nation. The dime, what in the modern parlance is known as. Then he says, how do you tackle adversaries? Again, I told you, Sam, Dam, Bhed, Dand. And apart from these four all of us know. Apart from 4, there are 2 more, Maya. Maya is again an important, subterfuge. And then is Upeksha. Let him go to hell. So this is what we can tell Trump, you please go your way. We didn't get the cryogenic rocket. What did we do? What did we do? We created our own. If he wants to this thing, we are the biggest emerging market. He's the loser. If he doesn't give visas, I'm very happy. मैं तो बात कर रहा था as a member of National Security Advisory Board कि ये जो talent flight हो रही है, how do we arrest this talent flight? I'm thankful to President Trump, Honorable President Trump, that he has done our job. The talent will stay here. If this talent stays here, I think India would progress more rapidly. So I think the leader, a good leader, and I'm sure that we have good leaders. Is it? Okay, we have good leaders. So I'm sure that these good leaders will observe an opportunity out of this present state. Every adversity or so-called adversity has to be taken as an opportunity. I think it's a good opportunity for all of us. Then there is a mandala theory of diplomacy. So what is the mandala theory? Mandala theory is so simple. It says your neighbor, immediate neighbor, would be your natural enemy. Your neighbor's neighbor would be your natural ally. होता है नहीं? I told you, आपका neighbor के साथ खटपट होती रहेगी. It'll always be there. It does not say that, he says natural enemy. He's not saying कि enemy है. He says natural. Tendency would be there. So what do? You have to have more resources. You have to, get more time, effort, money to make sure that you mend your relation. And that is what is becoming a little big bane of our diplomacy. कि बाहर तो relation ठीक है, अभी तो बाहर भी गड़बड़ है, लेकिन neighbors के साथ कभी relation जो है, whether it is Sri Lanka, whether it is Maldives, whether it is Bangladesh right under our nose, it has been taken away. We can't have this kind of a diplomacy. Where is our diplomacy? Nepal is slipping away. We can't have diplomacy like this. People must be held accountable. People must be asked questions as to why it is happening. Okay. So mandala theory is this. There are concentric circles. That is how you make India as in the center, make a concentric circle, and then you can know that these are the natural allies, and this is where you need to take care. For the diplomacy, that is how to deal with the states, there is a Shadgun Niti. You heard of Shadgun Niti? So Shadgun Niti, the first is that it says Sandhi. With your this thing, you create peace. Second is Vigrah. Peace possible nahi hai? War. Okay, but then there is Asan. Asan is you have a defensive posture, you are prepared. Like for example with China, we are in a state of preparedness. There is no war or conflict, but we are in a state of preparedness. So we are in a state of Asan. Then we have Sanshray, alliances. So we must have alliances. Then we have Dved Bhav, that we follow a dual policy. Dual policy is overtly we are friendly, but covertly we are taking all actions, to take care of the issues. Then we have the Yan, which is an aggressive stance. That means you are preparing for war. So these are the ways in which the states you can interact with your other sort of countries. In the India strategic culture, I think Swami Vivekananda was one of the most important who spoke a lot about our strategic culture. And I will just quote, and it's a beautiful quote, please hear it properly. He says, each nation has a destiny to fulfill. Each nation has a message to deliver. Each nation has a mission to accomplish. Therefore, from the very start, we must have to understand the mission of our race. The destiny it has to fulfill, the place it has to occupy in the march of nations, the note which it has to contribute to the harmony of races. That's what we have to realize. And we have a very profound note. The symphony of the world will not be very pleasing to us unless our profound note is added to it. And that's why it's very important for us to know about our strategic culture. So I've just given you a glimpse of the strategic culture, and just to give you a glimpse how profound it is. You know, I told you about this drop from the ocean. It is also because it may be out, it may have a separate existence, but within the drop is the ocean. And once it merges with the ocean, it again becomes the ocean. And I told you how everything is complete, everything is Pune. We don't need anything. You know, there is no lack in each of us. And that's why they say, Aham Brahmasmi, you have every ingredient. Please connect to yourself. The moment the knowledge is not in the books. Sorry, I'm saying this in the university, but the knowledge is not in the book, it's not in the classroom, it's there within you. The biggest proponent and the biggest spiritual teachers, Surdas, Tulsidas, Kabir, Guru Nanak, did they ever go to Savitribai Phule, Pune University? Sant Tukaram, Sant Jnaneshwar, 21 years. Sant Jnaneshwar, 21 years. Wrote 2 seminal works, Jnaneshwari and Amratanu Anubhav. Just 21 years. They didn't have any PhD. They didn't add PhD after their name. It is an ego boosting activity. Okay. They didn't add PhD after their name. Because they found that nectar within. They found the knowledge within. Once you are connected with yourself, ये ज्ञान अंदर से प्रस्फुटित होगा. This will emanate. The moment you are out of the conditioning, this will emanate from you. Says Guru Nanak was there with the Bardana. They were playing close to the pond, and he jumped. Guru Nanak jumped into the pond and didn't come out of the pond. And I think Bhai Mardana got worried. He called all the villagers. They searched the pond, every inch of it. They could not find him. After some time, he emerged. And when he emerged, he said the Mool Mantra. If you hear the Shabad, you know, the Mool Mantra, Ek Onkar, Satnam, Karta Purak. Okay, and this is how, this is entire spiritual literature, entire knowledge system, everything is there in this Mool Mantra. It's the Adi and Anadi. It's like the Anant thing which is there. Okay, this is the profoundness of our culture. And I'll give you just one more example. Am I running out of time, sir? I know that. I must be running out of the time. You know, my ADC used to tell me कि sir आप एक बार शुरू करते हो ना तो 1 घंटे से पहले नहीं रुकते हो. ठीक है? So I'll just before I finish and sign off, I'll tell you I'm from Gurkhas, and so is my dear friend Abhijit Bapat, General Abhijit Bapat. He's also from the Gurkhas. For us, Navratra is a very big festival. We are the worshippers of Shakti. And in our culture, Shakti element is feminine. To all the girls who are there, to all the ladies who are there, Shakti is not masculine. Shakti is feminine. That's the element, you know. And you must be, you know, today we are all talking of women empowerment. You are already superior. Why do you want to come down for an empowerment? You are already superior in all aspect. All aspect you are superior. You know, if you go to the same, a man because of an hunter, he has a tunnel vision. You know, so aap usi drawer mein you will go and you want to find your key, you know, car keys, you will not find. But the lady will come and she will open the drawer and she will just get the key. Ye rahiye. Aapko dikhai nahi deti, andhe ho. Because a lady looks 360 degree. A lady can multitask. उधर फ्रिज इधर भी काम हो रहा है, बच्चे की भी पढ़ाई होगी, उसको भी तैयार किया जा रहा है, पति का भी टिफिन तैयार किया जा रहा है. She can do all this. You can't do this. दूसरा काम आ जाएगा तो you will get flabbergasted. Okay, male can. That's why Shakti is feminine. It is feminine. And today, when we need women in the workplace, definitely. But when we need women in the workplace, for heaven's sake, please do not forget your role in the family. You are the glue in the family. संस्कार आदमी नहीं देता है, संस्कार माँ से बनता है. The mother gives you sanskars. Be the mother. You bring a life into this world. Please be clear what kind of a life are you bringing in this world. Very, very important. What sanskar are you going to give? You have a responsibility. It is a major responsibility. So you have to follow somewhere the Buddha's middle path. You must come out because we need you. We can't have 50% of our working population out of the context. They need to be there. But when they are there, you have to have a beautiful mix of your responsibilities as a mother in the family or as a wife, and that is how the role of a father becomes important. So when I have become a grandfather, I am so happy to see my son. I never expected this from him. But, the way he looks after he's the one who's giving the bath, who will do the malish, who looks after his wife, looks after the house that is under construction, and looks after himself also, beautifully. I think the men are doing a good job. At least seeing my son. Okay. So this is just something that I wanted to, but I told you about Durga Shapshati. There is a beautiful mantra in Durga Shapshati. It is Om Eng Kring Kling Chamundai Viche. You would have done that ahuti with that mantra. You possibly may not be aware. It is a Bij mantra, but it has a very profound meaning. The meaning is, Hey Brahma Rupini, Hey Mahashakti, Mujhe Brahma mein sthit kar. गति, मति, निर्मलता, शांति और स्थिरता प्रदान कर. हे क्षमा मूर्ति, मुझे मर्यादा में रख. शीलवान, विनम्र और विजयी बना. दुख, रोग, भय और संकटों से मेरी रक्षा कर. हे आनंदमयी माँ, मुझे मधुरता, प्रेम, प्रसन्नता, उत्साह, भावना, सिद्धि, संपन्नता, तुष्टि और पूर्णता प्रदान कर. परम पराक्रम वाली अजय रौद्ररूपिणी चंडी के प्रसन्न हो जाओ. Anything and everything has been asked. Nothing has been left out. All the attributes. All these attributes you can only get from the Mother Divine, from that feminine element. And that's why in our society, from times immemorial, the feminine element has always been worshipped as the Mother Divine, as the Shakti. And in manifestation, the Indian armed forces are the Shakti of this great country. I have enjoyed talking to you. And they say the best gift you can give is the gift of time. I must once again thank the Professor Khare and all of you for giving this beautiful gift of time. I hope I've been able to, leave a few thoughts with you. Thank you very much. Take care. God bless. Jai Hind. Yo, sorry. Any questions? Yeah.
Before asking question, kindly introduce yourself. Anyone? Marathi, Hindi, English?
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ajai Kumar Singh. I work as an assistant professor. So my question is, first of all, I would like to thank you for the words of wisdom, especially coming from the age range that you mentioned of 60 to 70, where you come with an experience, knowledge. So my question is seeded in the fact that you spoke about the attributes of a leader. So we are sitting in geography of one such leader who had almost all the attributes that you mentioned, who was connected with the culture, who was also connected with this spirituality, and who was a worshipper of the Shakti form that you mentioned of Bhavani Mata. So I'm speaking about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Sir,
and also a great military leader.
Yes, sir. So, sir, if I would like to have your advice, if somebody wants to dwell deeper, researchers or even students, looking at the topic of India's strategic culture and leadership with the reference range of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, sir, what will be the advice for the further research to be undertaken in the academic domain on this topic?
Absolutely. I think what you have said is, if I think one person comes to the mind who links India's strategic culture with that feeling of nation. I think it is Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. A small kingdom, and within no time he was able to rally, he was able to get everyone together and established an empire, and that empire was deeply rooted in spirituality. Before he started his campaigns, he went to that fort and took the blessing of his guru. What was the name of the guru? Yeah, Shri Samarth Shri Guru Samarth Ramdas. Okay. So he took that this thing, and from there he gave the clarion call. So it was absolutely and established an empire which was extending right up to Atak in this thing, and going down south also. I think it's a very good aspect of research. So I think what I would ask is that apart from what you have to read about Shivaji, it's important also to read the books before that, because Shivaji drew heavily from this. I think Arthashastra would become a very, very important. Gyaneshwari will become a very, very important. Gyaneshwari is nothing but commentary about Srimad Bhagavad Gita. One shloka of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, you can have, so I actually tell people that most of the people would say that I am an army officer and I am talking on spirituality. Both are like oxymorons. Because army is to deal with destruction, violence, power, and spirituality is to deal with love, compassion, and empathy. So how are the two meeting? So I tell them that look, the most seminal work which was relevant maybe 5 millennia before and today and would be relevant is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Where was it delivered? On a battlefield. To whom? Commander-in-Chief. Why? Because he lost faith in the cause. And Lord Krishna re-established that faith in the cause. And he said very clearly that last, having explained everything about the Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, he tells him last, he says, surrender unto me and say, Tasmad Utisht Kontai Yuddhai Krat Nishchaya. That is the last word, Yuddhai Krat Nishchaya. He's saying, for the protection of Dharma, please pick up your weapon and fire. And if you have to kill, not for your own personal glory, but for establishment of Dharma, because that's and it's very clearly which is mentioned in our Raj Dharma. What is Bhishma Pitama said, that a king must not have an ideology. A king must only stay with the truth and establishment of the truth. That's his role, not to have an ideology. There is a difference between ideology and this. So I think it's a very good, so must go through the Arthashastra, our old books which are part of the spiritual literature. And you must visit, and you must, there are still people who there is a lot of research that has been done. So, one is to collate all. I think the best advice, that I can give you is, whatever has been done so far, I think if you go through, collate, and put them in correctly, sequentially, and logically, I think that itself would be a very mammoth and seminal work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Jain, sir.
Yeah.
I'm Colonel Grewal, sir. Sir, my question is to a military leader, sir, and also a strategic thinker, that is you. We have a very strong foundation, sir. As a nation, as a civilization, we have a very strong foundation. But if we realize that ever since about 1080, sir, we have been free only for 78 years, sir. So, despite having such a strong foundation, the building has been trampled over again and again, sir. And in the modern times, we have seen the countries like America, sir, they have very systematically dismantled nations, sir. They've very systematically dismantled economies, very, very ruthlessly, sir, right from the Queen of Hawaii they started, sir, and till as late as the Iraq, sir. Sir, with a person like Donald Trump, sir, a lot of people do not give him much of credit because of so many reasons and because of so many dynamics that are beyond Donald Trump, sir.
True. True.
So, in certain set of circumstances, sir, how do we survive people like Donald Trump, people like the European Union, people like the NATO chiefs, sir, people like, there are so many people who are not very happy to see India grow, sir.
Absolutely.
So what would be your advice as a as an advisor at the very national level, sir, to the government or to the highest possible thinkers, sir?
I think it's a very good question that you have asked and a very topical one. I think the answer is we have to be connected with our own strategic culture. A mistake that we made was that we only looked at dharma. Apart from the dharma in Chanakya Niti, in this thing, there is a up-dharma also. There is a word up-dharma. Morality is not a one-way street. So a country that is not adhering to the tenets of morality, why would you adhere to the tenets of morality? Okay, so that up-dharma somewhere we forgot. A lot of people attribute it to Samrat Ashok that, after the Kalinga war, he sort of accepted Buddhism. The Buddhism spread far and wide, but our military strength goes down. He never dismantled his army. Never dismantled his army. The army was there. So I think somewhere down the line, like our own, we exist as a country. We exist as a country. A lot of people say that India exists as a country only after the Britishers. No, sorry. We existed as a country maybe about 5,000 years back. When Alexander came to India, there was one of his historian asked a rishi, a muni, and told him कि ये आपका जो coastline है वो कितना है? He told him the exact dimension of the coastline. A rishi told him the exact dimension of a coastline. Our name is Bharat Varsh. Varsh is basically a khand. It's a khand. It's a division. It's a division of a tract of a land that is separated by a mountainous range. So basically, India was always a land which was recognized as the boundary onto the north, that is the Himalayas onto the north, and the sea on to the south. It was a rhombus. It was a rhombus. That's how it has been explained in very, very old this thing. If you take a sankalp in your puja, it says Bharat Varshe, Jambu Dvipe Bharat Varshe, Arya Vartantrat Gate. So Bharat Varshe, it talks of Bharat Varsh. That particular sankalp has been taken, I think, from Rigved, if I'm not wrong. It's taken from Rigved. Rigved is thousands of years, 5,000 years old. That time he's taking Bharat Varsh. So which is that Bharat Varsh? For the Europeans and for the Western, the ethnicity is more important. That's why you have Serbs, Slovaks, Irish, Scottish. Everyone wants a land. In our thing, ethnicity is not more important. We believe in plurality. Our culture is syncretic culture. We believe in a territorial concept and culture as a unifying factor. So if you see India existed, it may be number of states, but it existed as an entity because of a territorial concept and the boundary, and also because of the culture that it has. Everyone had the same culture right from the north and to the south. They may have existed as a different, like today we are a different states, like they may not be any unifying. We didn't believe in the ethnicity. That's, I think, a very, very important thing. Coming back to your question proper as to how we can, I think it's important for us to look inwards. And when we look inwards, the most important thing, that is a strong armed forces. If one advice that I want to give is to have strong armed forces, that strong armed forces are a guarantor that you exist as a nation state. You may be weak. Economically, possibly you may go down as weak, but nobody dares. It's like Korea, North Korea. It's like North Korea. So I think a strong armed forces is extremely important. And then self-reliance, the Atmanirbharta that we are, because no great country, no big country, no upcoming country, no country that is aspiring to be a significant power can rely on GPS, which can always be, spoofed. We have to have our own NAVIC. If we have to have our own NAVIC, we have to have our own satellites. It's not that we don't have the technology. We have the technology. We have everything. We just have to join the dots. It's not today we don't have even access to Bharat Forge. How did he get the gun thing? He got it from the Germans. You empower, when I deal with a civilian defense manufacturer, I treat him as a vendor. Why are you treating him as a vendor? He's a partner. You have to treat him as a partner. You have to make him, sit him on the high table. Every big country that has come up on the champion model. Raytheon and Boeing and, all those distinct people. We have our own big people, Adani's, Ambani's, L&T, Tata's, Bharat Forge. Why can't we do the same thing? we have to have reliance on them. We have to have our own DAP policy. We worked for last about 3 months. I was busy working on a defense acquisition policy. It's a 650-page document. Why it is a 650-page document? Because while we have got independence, but we are still in a very, very imperialist mindset. We think everyone is a thief. We don't trust anybody. And since we don't trust anybody, we create a system whereby we are not leaving a loophole. And the moment you don't leave a loophole and don't give flexibility, you shackle yourself. You shackle yourself. So you have a system, कुछ नहीं हुआ, कुछ नहीं खरीदा गया है उससे. जो भी खरीदा गया है, जो भी, even in Sindoor, EP, that is what. And second, government to government. You know, BrahMos or whatever we have been able to, is government to government contract. Not very major things that have been bought through. So we have suggested today that you have to have a champion model. You have to have a, why RFP for everything? एक आपने क्या बोलते हैं बुलेट प्रूफ जैकेट लेना है, हेलमेट लेना है, और एक शिप लेना है, और एक टैंक लेना है या एयरक्राफ्ट लेना है. यू आर फॉलोइंग द सेम पॉलिसी. Same policy, JSQR बनेगा, ये बनेगा. And in that thing, there is a snake and ladder game in which there are no ladders, only snakes. ऊपर ले जाओगे वहाँ तक, and suddenly you find कि JSQR नहीं मिल रहा है अभी, वो एक कमी हो रहा है, बंदा L1 है, L1 के पास एक ही है, and then suddenly, you know, that snake bites and you come down to ground zero. You have to again restart, 5 साल का आपकी मेहनत पूरी सफाई होगी. You can't have a system like this. Who makes this system? We think the system we have inherited. We are the people today who are in the system who have to make a system. Why can't we change that system and tweak that system? So we have suggested changes. I think it's happening. The changes are happening. So Atmanirbharta, self-reliance, and a confidence in your own capability. I think today we have got everything. If a computer goes bad abroad, it is handed over to somewhere in this thing. You know, the kind of work that is being done in Bangalore, Hyderabad, or Pune for you know, the Google and, you know, the big giants, it's all being done out here. It's all being done in India by Indian brain, the top multinational companies. Who are there? Indian brain. I think with soft power, we have a soft power, we realize our soft power, we propagate the soft power, but corresponding with the soft power, we have to invest in the hard power. The most important thing, if you ask me today, for India is the requirement of a hard power. If you have the hard power, you mean to say Pakistan would dare do Pahalgam on us? He dares do Pahalgam on us because we are powerful. I'm not saying we are not powerful, but we aren't that powerful that we can deter him. I think we have to, and we have borders which are not you know, defined so far. We have issues both on the northern borders and on the western borders. So I think most important thing is a strong. Uske baad fir then everything else can follow. Thank you. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. So I am Lieutenant Colonel Alok, sir. I would like your views on the difference between leader and a role model, sir. We have got leaders across various fields, sir, but we have got very few role models. And probably, sir, I may be wrong if I bring out, you know, the last role model which we look forward to, and you also, you know, brought out in your speech, sir, is the Professor Kalam, sir. Yeah. So as a country, sir, I think we require more number of role models, sir. And that is also required for the homogeneous development of the countries.
Absolutely.
Your views on it.
I think you're absolutely bang on. I would, I think every leader has to be a role model. You know, you are not a leader unless you are a role model. And for a role model, I think again I'll come back to spirituality. Abdul Kalam Azad, you know, his thing always is from spirituality. Spirituality. It is very, very important. If I can tell you about the Bhagavad Gita, it can be pura uska nichod do shabdon mein, niswart kartavya, selfless service. If you do anything, you know, most of the leaders today, it's not, they have the vision. It's not that they have the competence, they have the ability. But most of them are working for self. कोई अपनी कुर्सी बचा रहा है, कोई, you know, they are all, और कोई अपना पद, गरिमा, सब उसके पीछे भाग रहे हैं. But who's working selflessly? Who has the nation's interest supreme? Who wants to preserve dharma, the 10 attributes of the dharma? I think for a role model, it's like, what did Dr. Abdul Kalam leave? Nothing, no possessions, absolutely no possessions. You have to live like that. You need, absolutely right. I think India today lacks role models. You're absolutely right. I think we need to find one and we need to nurture one, and somebody has to come up. And I'm sure, time is a great this thing. Time will throw up. When there is an opportunity, when there is a requirement, time definitely will throw a great leader. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Ajay, sir. Myself, Shiva Deshmukh. I'm a second year master student. Sir, there is a question. There is a request to you. Sir, once during your lecture at Pentagon, I hope you remember, in Southern Command Auditorium Hall, you recite a shlok from Ramayana, Lord Ram to Lord Shiva. Could you please recite that shlok again, please?
So I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you the story. The story is that in Ramayana, before Lord Ram invaded Sri Lanka, he was a bhakt of Shankar, Shiv, and he wanted to pray to Lord Shiva before he invades. So for Shiva, he had to do the Rudrabhishek. So for Rudrabhishek, you had to have a Shivling. So Lord Hanuman was sent, कि आप शिवलिंग लेके आओ. So he flew to Kailash to get the Shivling. Instead of one, he thought he must give a choice. So he got two. And in that bargain, he came a little late. But in the meanwhile, since he came late, Mata Sita made a Shivling out of the sand, which is still there in Rameshwaram. In the main sanctum sanctorum, that Shivling, which is made of sand, is still there. And when Lord Hanuman came, he was late because the puja, the Rudrabhishek had already started, and he got very angry. So he was dragging both the Shivling, and then Shiva got angry, agitated, and he sort of, in that agitation also, he put just his hand like a blessing, and Lord Hanuman went half down. So in Rameshwaram, there is a pratima of Lord Hanuman, which is half into the ground and only half which is visible. Adjacent to that pratima is a Shivling, which was one Shivling that he got, and the second Shivling has been established adjacent to the main sanctum sanctorum, where the Shivling of Mata Sita is there. Most of the Rudrabhishek and the puja is done on the second one, which Lord Hanuman has got. But coming back to the story, उस जंगल में अब शिवलिंग तो ठीक है माता सीता ने बना दिया, but उससे पहले पुरोहित कौन बनेगा? Who will be the purohit in that jungle? So the biggest and the most learned Brahman and the most learned purohit was none other than Ravan. So there was a message sent to Ravan, that this is what needs to be done, and please come and grace the occasion. So imagine the profoundness of our culture. Before I come to the story and recite, I must tell you, there is a beautiful, you must hear Atal Bihari Vajpayee. I think role model, he was again one super role model. You must hear to him. I think he spoke in Valley, and he said कि आप एक मनुष्य का पूजा करने की पद्धति बदल सकते हो, but you can't change the culture. So today, while most of the people who are there in JNK are convertees, we are all aware. So his name is Ghulam Nabi Bhatt. He hasn't removed Bhatt because that is the culture. And if you say desecration of the temples hasn't taken place to that extent in JNK, the temples are still there except for a few things here and there. But still the culture is the same. So you can change the way you pray to the God and who's the God, but you can't change the culture. So our profound culture is this, that Ravan accepted the invite to do a puja, which is being done to gain success. That means which is basically assuring destruction of Lanka and his defeat. But he comes. He not only comes, he knows that any puja is not complete till the time the Ardhangani, the better half, is not there. So he gets Mata Sita also along. And that's when Mata Sita comes, because she was not there. She was there, in Lanka. When he does the Rudrabhishek, so there are very two, stotra in honor of Lord Shiva. One has been, articulated by Raman, which you would have heard, which is like fiery. It can raise anybody, it can motivate anybody. It has got that energy in that. And the second also has energy, more profound energy than what Ravan created. And this is Rudrashtakam. नमामि मीशान निर्वाण रूपम विभुम व्यापकम ब्रह्म वेद स्वरूपम निजम निर्गुणम निर्विकल्पम निरीहम चिदाकाश महाकाश वासम भजेहम निराकार मौंकार मूलम तुरीयम गिरा ज्ञान गोतीत मीशम गिरीशम करालम महाकाल कालम कृपालम गुणागार संसार पारम नतोहम तुषाराद्रि संकाश गौरम गंभीरम मनोभूत कोटि प्रभाश्री शरीरम स्फुन मौली कल्लोलिनी चारु गंगा लसद भाल भालेन्दु कंठे भुजंगा चलत कुंडलम भ्रु सुनेत्रम विशालम प्रसन्ना ननम नीलकंठम दयालम मृगाधीश चर्माम मरम मुंड मालम प्रेम शंकरम सर्वनाथम भजामे प्रचंडम प्रकष्टम प्रगल्गम परेशम अखंडम अजम भानुकोटि प्रकाशम त्रयशूल निर्मूल नमशूल पानी भजे हम भवानी पति भावगम्यम कलातीत कल्याण कल्पांतकारी सदा सजनानंद दाता पुरारी चिदानंद संदोहो मोहाभारी प्रसीद प्रसीद प्रभोमन मथारी ना यावद उमानाथ पादार विंदम भजंती लोके परेवा नराणाम न ताव सुखम जरा जन दुखोग्य तातप्य मानम प्रभोहि पाहि आपन नमामि शंभो रुद्राष्टक मिदम प्रोक्तम विप्रेण हरतोषे ये पठंती नरा भक्ता तेषाम शंभु प्रसीदति. थैंक यू.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. After 35 years career in my student of defense and strategic studies, as a student, as a faculty, I have seen first time as a decorated officer who has command over spirituality as well as the strategic culture and leadership quality. Give a big round of applause for him. Excellent. Thank you, sir. So this is the beauty of Indianness. In fact, when he suggested a topic, he suggested the lines in the strategic culture, leadership and spirituality. I deliberately requested him, why should we just focus on strategic culture and leadership, and you can have it whatever you want to win, and spirituality, because the moment you put it word spirituality, you know, you will think differently. That's why I deliberately avoided that word, and I'm very happy that sir started with the fundamental rights and duties. In fact, and this is the message he has given to the young generation. As per the constitution, we are asking the rights, but we are not performing our duties. And he has rightly mentioned what is our duties. I am very admirer of the state of Tamil Nadu. The way they have developed the education system, particularly schooling system, in Maharashtra and across India, if we see the curriculum, in text curriculum, we had earlier, during our time, civics and politics. In social sciences, there is a content which incorporates civics and politics, and where in civics, what is our duties? Sir has rightly mentioned, and he pointed out that Vice Chancellor and myself should take any initiative for the cleanliness. That bringing up comes from the education. And presently, the state of Tamil Nadu is the only state they are focusing on the civic education. Unfortunately, in our modern content in CBSE, even in our state of Maharashtra, we removed the civic word and we are just focusing on the politics and the political science. And that is where we are lacking, and that's you are rightly pointed out. But that's why the role of responsibility, particularly when you are asking the fundamental rights, what is the responsibility, what is a new generation, that is very important. What I like, he has given different indicators, particularly scientific, temperament, education, environment, taxes. That's, But in India, we have the number of scientific institutions. In Pune itself, sir rightly pointed out, if we look at the Delhi is a political hub where political things is happening. If you go to Mumbai, Mumbai is financial capital and financial things happening. But in Pune, it is the intellectual capital. If you see around the Pune city, the 30 plus universities, private and state funded university is around going to set, means already set up and few are coming up. So this is really intellectual capital, but in intellectual capital, what we are lacking, the scientific temperament, and you are rightly pointed out that we are really need to develop a scientific temperament. Scientific institutions are here. If you go to the NCL, you will see the kind of scientific things happening, but what about the scientific temperament? Near to our campus in Ayuka, TIFR, these are the National Cell Sciences, and around the Pune University, these are the institutions are set up by Government of India, but no one talking about the scientific temperament, and that is the beauty of your lecture, that you have developed this argument. I'm very happy, Siddhan, when you said that need to understand the constitutions and the human rights. In fact, this is the first kind of university we made it compulsory. Those who are getting a master's degree from Savitribai Phule Pune University, they have to complete 2 credits compulsory course, audit course of 2 credits on human rights, where we are giving the text of human rights, what is their duties, what is the constitution preamble, and what is their responsibility, what is the fundamental rights, and what is the constitutional core values. And another one is the 2 credit course on human rights and 2 credits course on the constitution. So how constitution came up and how constitution has developed the scientific emperor. So that's why you mentioned that, and we are already working in a Savitribai Phule Pune University. Importance of spirituality is very important, and what happened here, when we talked about the spirituality, most of the common man thinks about, they have their biasness about spirituality particularly. We focus on one religion. So they said that this is only on Hinduism, or you call it Hinduism. But the spirituality in all religion, if we come club together, again that would be a change, there will be a paradigm shift in a thinking. Take example of Muslim religion. When they call Salam Alaikum, the opponent say Malaikum Salam, means I am Kushamat, you are also the Kushamat. So this kind of culture, each religion percolated, but unfortunately what sir has said that somehow we are missing these gaps. And if you see his books, it's a wonderful books. I would request each one to go through that book. He has given the all kind of testament what we should be and how we should be develop a strategic culture. Sir, I'm very happy to share a few things. I was thinking to how we should have a think tank in Pune, and a lot of literature I have gone, and I myself and some of the officers, we come together and we have established a very important strategic think tank. Already we established in 2014, and the name of the think tank is the Strategic Culture and Security Foundation. So the bringing different culture together and develop a new kind of version which focusing on national security strategy. So we already working, and another, when next time whenever you will have a time, we must we will invite you and kindly give it a time so we can have a more discussion. I am very happy that General Saab has given a time to us, and he spared his valuable time. And once again, on behalf of Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, on behalf of Savitribai Phule Pune University, I thanks my own and on behalf of Savitribai Phule Pune University. Now, there will be an announcement. We will have a quick group photo together with General Saab outside the hall, and I would request each one to stand for national anthem.
So national anthem will be followed by group photograph outside near the tank. The group photograph will be near the tank after the national anthem, and then there's tea for all of you all. Thank you.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गाथा। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Jai Hind.